I really love Gwen's character in the Spider-Verse movies. What makes her so special to me is that she's not just a simple character or a one-dimensional love interest. She's actually quite complex and layered. You can see that she has so much going on beneath the surface. She's real, flawed, and relatable. In this video, I want to talk about all the heartbreaking moments she has gone through in the Spider-Verse movies so far. There are exactly 9 moments that truly broke her heart, plus one extra moment that's more of a surprise or shock than actual heartbreak. So, without further ado, let's get started. The very first heartbreaking moment Gwen experienced was losing her mom when she was really young. From the films, it's clear that even though she was very young when it happened, she still deeply misses her mom. There are little hints that show it, like the birthday letter taped to her drum set, which seems to be something her mom wrote to her. This just shows that she holds on to those memories and feels her mom's absence every day, even if she can't fully remember everything from that period. The second big heartbreak for Gwen was losing her best friend Peter. But he wasn't just any friend, he was her childhood friend, someone she had known for a really long time. More importantly, Peter was actually the only friend she ever truly felt close to. Gwen wasn't very good at making deep, meaningful friendships, so Peter meant the world to her. Sadly, he died, and Gwen was involved in what happened, which added a heavy burden of guilt on her shoulders.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Don't go. Peter.
His death had a huge impact on her. It was her Uncle Ben moment. His passing gave Gwen a painful but powerful reason to keep fighting and moving forward, even though it broke her heart in the process. The next really heartbreaking moment for Gwen came with how her father reacted when he discovered that she was Spider-Woman. Her dad was constantly hunting Spider-Woman, and he blamed her for Peter's death.
Peter Parker ate at my table. He was my daughter's best friend, and I will not rest until I find this Spider-Woman.
What he didn't know was that she was actually Gwen herself. When he finally found out the truth, that the person he was chasing was his own daughter, his reaction wasn't what Gwen hoped for at all. Even after discovering she was Spider-Woman, he refused to accept it. In fact, he pointed a gun at her and was ready to arrest her.
Dad, are you really this afraid of me?
You have the right to an
Dad,
attorney.
stop!
Don't get any...
Can you imagine how shattering that must have been for her? The one person she probably wanted to support her the most, the one meaningful person left in her universe, was treating her like a criminal and someone responsible for such a terrible loss. This moment devastated her deeply. It wasn't just about her father not accepting her, it was about feeling completely rejected and misunderstood by the person who should have been on her side. And on top of that emotional pain, she was forced to leave her entire universe behind, her father, her home, everything she knew, because of the events that unfolded. She didn't want to leave, but she had no other choice. This kind of loss goes beyond heartbreak, it's an ache that runs deep because it's about losing your entire foundation. There's also another heartbreaking moment that we don't actually see in the movies, but we learn about it through the story. At some point, Gwen figures out that her dad is gonna die. This comes from the canon event in every Spider-Man story where a police captain is destined to die. She understands this grim fate, and she accepts it, even though it must have been the hardest decision she has ever made. I'm absolutely sure it tore her apart inside. This acceptance reveals just how complicated and painful her life is, how broken she feels, and it shows us the harsh reality that Miguel and the rest of the Spider Society are trapped in. They're destined to suffer, to lose people they care about deeply. If letting someone you love die is part of that destiny, they believe that there's no other choice but to accept it. For Gwen, this was devastating, and it adds another layer of sorrow to her story. Another really tough and painful heartbreak for Gwen was not being able to see Miles. When she joined the Spider Society, I'm pretty sure the first thing she looked forward to was reconnecting with him. After all, Miles means a lot to her. But then, she found out that she was forbidden from seeing him because of his status as an anomaly. That must have hurt her deeply. Even though she made lots of new friends in the Spider Society, none of those friendships compared to what she shares with Miles. Their bond is way deeper and much more meaningful. Not being able to reconnect with someone that important to her was heartbreaking. Miles became more than just a friend to Gwen over time. She actually developed feelings for him. This makes the situation even more painful because she couldn't even fully embrace those feelings, not openly anyway, even though she really wanted. When she finally had the chance to see him again, she didn't waste a single moment and spent some beautiful, meaningful time with him. That shows how much Miles means to her and how special their connection really is. One of the most beautiful things about Gwen's character is that she doesn't see Miles as an anomaly or a problem. She sees him for who he really is, Spider-Man. That understanding and acceptance is something very powerful and touching about her. But on the flip side, another thing that must have hurt her a lot was having to keep secrets from him. Not being able to be truthful or completely real with someone so important to you can be really painful. We saw in the movie how much this affected her, how hard it is to hide things from the person you love. Breaking his heart is definitely something Gwen deeply regrets. Eventually, he finds out the whole truth about everything she tried to hide from him. When that happened, it must have felt like Gwen's entire world came crashing down because her intentions were to protect him. She believed that by not telling him the truth about his father's death or his own status as Spider-Man, she was actually keeping him safe. But in the end, all her efforts backfired and ended up hurting him really badly. This is something Gwen absolutely hates, seeing Miles hurt and disappointed, especially because it was her actions that caused it. When Miles told her that she was right, that she should have never come to see him, it was a really painful moment.
All right, Gwen. You should have never come to see me.
Later on, when he said goodbye, he said it specifically to her, showing just how hurt and disappointed he felt.
Bye, Gwen.
That whole exchange was incredibly emotional and showed the deep impact Gwen's actions had on him, and Gwen's expression in that moment tells the whole story. She was completely devastated. You can see the pain and regret in her eyes, which makes the scene incredibly emotional. Now, I want to mention one extra moment that's not really a heartbreak but more of a shocking betrayal. This involves Jessica Drew, who was Gwen's mentor. Gwen had reached a breaking point with how Miguel was treating Miles and finally stood up to question him, becoming the first one in the Spider Society to do so. But instead of backing Gwen up, Jessica didn't stand by her side. She agreed with Miguel that Gwen was a liability and was quick to support her being kicked out of the group.
Jess, tell him he's wrong.
He's not.
Are you serious right now?
I told you. You let him get away, I can't help you.
This betrayal shocked Gwen deeply because she trusted her, but she let her down when she needed support the most. That moment added another layer of emotional pain for Gwen.
We are supposed to be the good guys.
So, these are pretty much all the heartbreaking moments she has gone through in the Spider-Verse films so far. One thing I want to highlight is the amazing contrast between Gwen's perspective and Miles' perspective throughout the film. Miles is hopeful, optimistic, and determined to write his own story and shape his own destiny. On the other hand, Gwen was letting the canon control her life and was afraid to do what she truly wanted because of this idea of fate or so-called canon event.
In every other universe, Gwen Stacy falls for Spider-Man. And in every other universe, it doesn't end well.
What about your dad? He's a captain, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. You just aren't gonna do anything about it.
But by the end of the movie, her entire perspective changes. She finds the courage to want to write her own story, just like Miles. And the beautiful part of this is that it's Miles who inspires her to make that change.
It's the first time for everything, right?
Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
One thing I learned from Miles, it's all possible.
This dynamic between them is such a wonderful and well-written aspect of their story, filled with layers and complexity. I'm really looking forward to Gwen's redemption arc because I know it's gonna be emotional, really emotional. It will be interesting to see how she manages to make things right with Miles and finally let go of all those feelings she's been hiding out of fear.